let's talk for a moment about mindful walking. What were some of the things that you noticed? Your observations were terrific in terms of how you communicated in the various ways that some of you chose to do it as a practice, as your practice for 5 or 10 minutes, or whatever it may have been, or from some period of time. So, would you comment on mindful walking this week? What have you noticed?
It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Like the whole week I was just saying right, left, right, left, right, left. 'Cause if I didn't try to do anything more than that, I just couldn't get to it.
Meaning, what does that mean, get to it?
I couldn't stay mindful as I was walking.
Okay, so if you try to bring yourself into a more of a sensory experience of walking,
It was right back into the same monotony stuff. You know,
Okay,
I just
good.
had to,
so what does that tell you about the snow globe?
it's shaking way too much.
Well, it's shaking, right?
Yeah,
It's shaking. And then the way too much is another thought we have that keeps it shaking
about
even
it,
more.
yeah.
That's very good. Good. And that's why that can be enough. But it sounds like you were sort of judging, like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I felt like I kept hitting like the reset button. So I guess maybe I was judging myself a little bit for always having to do that.
Good. And so to be aware of the judging.
Yeah.
Right? But you were doing it.
Yes.
So it's not like right, left is not as good as
You're right.
totally in touch with the moment. I mean, what does that even mean, right? So, good, good. Yeah.
I found that barefoot really brought me in tune. I remember when J-Mark was doing it last Friday, and so I tried it, and I definitely felt more engaged, more present.
Okay. In what way?
The sensations, feeling the ground. I don't know. I found that I was less inclined to be captured in my own thoughts when I was barefoot, because instead of focusing on thoughts, I was focusing on what I was feeling.
So know this, and please understand this as I intended. That's a practice. That's a practice. It's not like that's some little interesting something or other. To sit and practice, to walk and do that, right? It's the practice. Do you think it's different? Do you think it is less of a practice?
No?
It's not less of a practice. We just happen to be walking a lot. So it may not seem to be so out of the ordinary. John?
Yeah, I like the walking practice. I focus, on left, right, but something about being outside makes it really refreshing for me, because I'm outside a lot, but not actually paying attention to the fact that I'm outside. Like I'm riding my bike to class, or I'm doing a sport or something, but never actually just
Yeah.
sitting or walking and feeling. So I liked it. It's relaxing.
Yeah, that's nice, and it can be a reminder of the things that we miss. That's not an uncommon, even the reading today on washing the hands, it's a reminder on the things that we oftentimes miss because the mind is so busy. And it's not that the mind can't be busy, it's not like we can't be riding our bicycle and thinking about the meeting that we're going to, or it's not like we can't be, of course we can be. Sometimes perhaps that's the thing to be doing, but oftentimes we're not in charge of that. And oftentimes the places it's going aren't necessarily helpful or constructive. And we're missing something extraordinary, or something that we might regard as extraordinary. Also, there's a lot of research on just how walking and daydreaming, how getting out and just taking a walk and letting the mind just wander, not having to do a particular right-left practice or anything like that, which serves its own purpose as we understand from our experiencing of it, but just to be able to go, look at the trees and marvel over this, or just to have thoughts and just daydream while out in nature has been found to be extremely important for well-being and to creativity and to other things. So if you go out to do the mindful walk, it's not like it has to have a rigid, one-way only kind of doing it. That's why even left, right can move into a little more of an experiencing, which can move right back to left, right, which can actually turn into, oh my God, look at what's around me. And maybe that's what it's all about in the first place. Maybe that's what it's all about in the first place. Nice, yeah.
I was just going to say that, I feel like when I use the left, right, I'm walking, doing it, that my distractions are stuff that are still in the present moment, whether it be someone walking by or like a tree in the wind or something. It's not like I'm not so much in here as I am still here. So
Yeah, good, right. That's right. And it's nice that we sort of contrast thoughts with somebody walking by. And that's important. to recognize in some ways, and I introduced this in this morning's sitting a little bit, and I've done this from time to time, and this in some ways is sort of a far out kind of notion, but I suggest to you that it's not as far out as one might think it is. That is, experiencing it is not as far out as thinking it is far out, which is this thought that's arising in my mind. I'm sitting here now, let's just say, I said, let's just have a minute where we don't, you know, as we did for a few minutes in our sitting today, we don't have anything on mind. No practice, no instruction, just whatever. And then all of a sudden I'm like, thinking, okay, I just had an image of my daughter Rose playing tennis, because she's learning to play tennis across the street. Where'd that come from? Right? And where might I go with that if I were to go with that? If I were to start to now layer on my own thinking about that. I could start thinking, I was a kid in high school and playing tennis after school, and then the guy who was in charge of the tennis place, and how I wonder if he's still alive or not, at the time that he, I mean, who knows where the mind goes, because that's where the mind will go if you let it go, which can be a wonderful source of creativity. It can serve so many interesting purposes. I could also start to think about, oh, my childhood, where did it go? My daughter's so lucky, and she's growing up, and she's not a child anymore either, and now I'm feeling sadness or whatever. Where's that? So the places it goes, just because of the nature of the mind's meandering. And maybe one could say, well, it's interesting where it goes. And that's the therapeutic realm. Where is it going? Why is it going there? What is that? But that's not the mindfulness realm. Though it may very well be a wonderful realm to explore. But even in the therapeutic context, you're attending to where it's going, and you're sort of thinking and attending and working it out and figuring it out and analyzing it. Even then there's an observation of the meandering of the mind. But here with the mindfulness practice, which is its own form of insight, as well as relaxation or stress reduction or just being present, we're interested in just noticing it. And in the noticing it what? So then when I begin to think about my daughter across the street, but I'm here with you and we're having a class, what do I do if I realize I'm thinking about my daughter across the street practicing learning tennis? What do? If I'm aware that that's where my mind just wandered to.
You're able to bring your mind back.
I'm able to bring my mind back, right. That's exactly right.